This week on The Week Ahead, we look at the GOP Balanced Budget Amendment. Plus, Congressman Jim Jordan speaks out on welfare reform and hear about one concept that's out there. Welcome to The Week Ahead. I'm Frank McCaffrey. Senate Republicans are asking for a balanced budget amendment, and with our mountainous national debt and deficit, it could be just what America needs. For more on this, we're joined by Americans for Limited Government President Bill Wilson. Bill, what exactly is this balanced budget amendment? Can you explain?
Yes, Senator McConnell, Republican leader in the Senate, has proposed a revised balanced budget amendment that is much different from other versions that have been offered in the past. In the McConnell version, there are severe restrictions on tax increases, but most important, it limits the size of federal spending to a fixed percentage of our gross national product. By setting it at a maximum of 18% of our gross domestic product, this balanced budget amendment would greatly reduce the scope and size of the federal government and is a gigantic step forward in reining in this out-of-control monster that the federal government's become. The Senate Republican version of this new balanced budget amendment is really a bold and innovative step that inevitably would lead to a reduction in our deficit and in terms of the take that the federal government has every year from people's paychecks. This is a long-term solution. This is a long-term fix to this out-of-control spending that the federal government has fallen into.
Thank you very much, Bill. House Republican Chris Smith has introduced a bill to deny food stamp assistance to union workers who have chosen to strike against an employer. Some on the left are outraged by this. However, many point out that dragging citizens into a private labor dispute is unfair, and supporting strikers is supporting people who have left work voluntarily. Unions are also charging that Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan's welfare reform bill would also take assistance away from those who are on strike. Jordan recently spoke with ALG about his welfare reform legislation.
During tough economic times, when the economy is down, social welfare spending picks up. But what you find is once you come out of the recovery, social welfare spending never goes back down. It just keeps growing and growing and growing.
There are 77 different types of welfare programs, and over $700 billion is spent on them annually. This is up from just over $400 billion that was spent on government welfare in 2006.
The idea behind the bill is to say, okay, once we get back to a more normalized economy, you cap aggregate social welfare spending, and then you figure out which ones provide the right incentives, which ones are consistent with American principles and values, which ones make sense to have in place, and you help get at some savings, which obviously we need to do in light of our financial situation.
The idea here is also to contain welfare culture.
If you think about the old welfare system, and in some cases what the Democrats have brought back into the welfare system, the wrong incentives are in place. I mean, think about the old welfare system, particularly the single mom. It said to her, don't get married, don't get a job, have more kids, and you'll get more money.
Jordan sits atop the Republican Study Committee, which is working to reduce poverty through economic growth and strengthening traditional American values. Jordan notes that with nearly 43 million people living in poverty, a smarter approach towards welfare is needed. And that's all the time we have for the week ahead. Please join us again next time. For more on this and other topics, visit netrightdaily.com.